Relationships with Indigenous people. Topic Introduction. The historical relationship between the country and the Aboriginal people is tainted with racial discrimination. Indigenous people were oppressed in order to exploit their property and destroy their cultures through assimilation. Cases of racial discrimination were witnessed in all societal sectors such as employment, education and health sectors. Despite this conflict in the past, the Canadian government has acknowledged most of such historical moments in order to shape or strengthen the relationships with the Indigenous population who are increasing significantly. My firm belief in social equality or justice resonates with this past. I believe commemorating such instances helps to build a society that respects everyone's rights despite their racial affiliations. Thesis argument. The relationships in Indigenous history will examine public perceptions, media representations, stereotypes and racism. Throughout history, racism facing the Indigenous in Canada has taken various forms. As mentioned, these groups would be discriminated against in different sectors such as education, employment, and health sectors. Stigma as a negative attitude towards an individual or a population group due to their social characteristics. Public perceptions about Indigenous people in Canada have been highly influenced by misconceptions and misrepresentations sent out through the media. Sources discussion. According to Curry et al. 2012, there has been an increased connection between the Indigenous people and other populations due to population growth. Historically, the Aboriginal people were prevented from settling in urban areas, unlike today. Curry referenced a 2009 study that showed that 7 out of 10 Aboriginals in Canadian cities had faced insults and ridicules. As shown by Curry, stereotypes about Indigenous people in the country have influenced the relationship between this minority group and others. They are termed a minority group since they are subordinates to more dominant groups in the country. Sources discussion, continue. In the contemporary period, the Indigenous people still face racial treatment and discrimination in the healthcare sector. As Loppe et al. 2014 explained, racial discrimination in healthcare has led to negative health outcomes of the Indigenous people, increasing their vulnerability to diseases and a lowered life expectancy. Loppe further add that this population group has lost trust in the healthcare system and therefore does not recognize medical interventions such as screening as important. Common stereotype about the Aboriginal is that they are only dependent on others and can only survive under federal government help. This means that the Indigenous people are viewed as lacking self-autonomy or the self-determining right. Loppe explained there is a common stereotype about Aboriginals around violence, unemployment, drug abuse and addiction. According to Loppe, the media has a key role in shaping the perceptions of people about the Indigenous population. Loppe mentioned an us versus them mentality which represents an unending conflict between the Indigenous people and the rest of the population. Conclusion. The relationships between the Indigenous and the government or the rest of the population have not been smooth throughout history. Their human rights have been constantly violated through unequal treatment when compared to the rest of the population. The Government of Canada is setting up different initiatives to ensure the Indigenous people in the country are treated equally, and racism is completely mitigated.